Thank you, Troy. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are. And welcome to session 7 of the Regional Dialogue Series on Ocean Data Finance and Governance for Sustainable Ocean Development. This is our first session in 2026. We had 6 sessions last year. We are eager to continue using this platform to share insights and engage in ongoing discussions on various topics related to ocean data, finance, and governance, among others. So session 7 in particular focuses on governance accounts, which is institutions' rights and responsibilities. And as introduced from Troy, my name is Khaira Ismail. I am the Deputy Director at the Blue Economy Advancement Centre, UMT Beacon, University Malaysia Terengganu, Malaysia, and I will be facilitating this session today. So let me briefly outline the flow of the session. We will begin with 2 short expert presentation, approximately 10 minutes each, and followed by a moderated discussion. Participants are encouraged to submit questions at any time using the Q&A box, and we will bring questions into the discussion segment when time permits. Without further ado, let us begin with our first speaker. Our first speaker is Mr. Hadi Yoga Dewanto, Ocean Accounts Fellow at UNSW Centre for Sustainable Development Reform, specializing in ocean governance accounts, a PhD candidate working with the Global Ocean Account Partnership GOAP to advance practical frameworks for documenting and measuring governance system. With over a decade of experience in Indonesia's marine affairs sectors, he brings expertise in translating scientific evidence into scalable policy reform, marine conservation planning, and multilateral environmental cooperation. And he facilitated the 5th Global Dialogue on Sustainable Ocean Development in Bali in 2024. So thank you for taking the time to share your project findings with our community today. So Mr. Hadi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Khaira, for the kind introduction. I hope my voice is clear at your end. Okay, so before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the First Nations and Indigenous communities as the traditional custodians of the land where I study, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present. So bear with me, I will share my screen. Okay, so I would like my presentation start with the fundamental of ocean accounting and why it matters. As we are familiar that we have discussed ocean accountings through this webinar series, ocean accounting integrates environmental, economic, and governance informations within one coherent system. It built on the UN system of national accounts and the system of environmental economic accounting. These integrations makes ocean accounting powerful, breaks data silos, enables decision makers to see trade-offs, evaluate policies, and also identify regulatory gaps, rather than managing the ocean sector by sector as we are currently doing. So several countries apply ocean accounting to tackle real policy challenges. For example, for Indonesia, they apply ocean accounting to measure MPA management outcomes, and for Vietnam, developing waste accounts, and Canada for national ocean economy evaluations. But there is a gap that while we are getting better at measuring the ocean's environment and economy, we still struggle to account for institutions, laws, and decision-making processes that govern the oceans. This is where the governance accounts come in. So governance accounts is a systematic records of institutional, regulatory, and management features of oceans. It documents who governs what, under which legal frameworks, in with what financial resources. According to the technical guidance, these accounts can be structured through 2 complementary approaches. First, we spatially explicit mapping the jurisdictional boundaries, the management zones, the institutional and also legal frameworks across ocean spaces. Second, we record economic activity that directly associated with ocean management, like government spending on protection, taxes, and also subsidies, among others. This approach follows the environmental activity accounts in the SIA central frameworks. So why does this matters? In theory, the governance accounts help to identify coordination gaps across jurisdictions, improve communication across administrative levels, and crucially, it links policy interventions to environmental and economic outcomes. So it will be very clear if you can see the example of governance accounts through collaboration work between the Indonesian Ocean Accounting Task Force and UNSW. We developed governance accounts for the Gili Matra Marine Protected Area in West Nusa Tenggara, a 3,000 hectare of MPA encompassing 3 small islands. I will walk you through what each type of governance accounts reveals. First one is the spatial governance. It shows the MPA is divided into 6 management zones, but only 2.2% is designated as core zone with absolute protection. This is well below the recommended 15 to 30% of no-take threshold. While for the institutional, it reveals that the on-the-ground management unit under the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries Indonesia, they must coordinate with 3 other levels of government, from village at the local level, regency, and also provincials. These government institutions controls different management aspects. They create some sort of integration of opportunities, but also in fragmentation risk. This is really naturally typical of ocean governance that I believe Prof. Wan will explain to you in and elaborate more in her presentation. And for the financial governance accounts, it's perhaps most revealing. While the total management expenditure is roughly around 45,000, yet the MPA generated more than that. It's generated 2.3 million. It's around 1 to 52 return ratios. But the MPA is 97% dependent on government budget. So together, these accounts reveal that there is a strong economic returns and also well-defined institutional mandates, but also inadequate cost recovery and potentially insufficient to protect biodiversity, and also there is no financial sustainability in the long term. So these are the kinds of policy insights that only become visible when you systematically document governance alongside environmental and economic data. So if we take this and scale up into national level, I'm sharing you my preliminary findings of my research. I am developing the ocean governance baseline for Indonesia. It reveals that the complexity is multiplied dramatically as we scale up to the national level. For Indonesia, its ocean governance involve overlapping spatial systems. There are 6 jurisdictional zones according to the law of the sea, and overlapping marine spatial planning, approximately around 86 MSP now, maybe more. And because it's keep updating, and also there are more than 400 MPAs and 11 fisheries management areas as sectoral management zones. And in much more detailed scale, there are more than 2,000 marine space use permits that's already endorsed in Indonesia. These marine space use permits regulate activities specific like submarine cables, customary management marine areas, and also other marine space uses. This is precisely why governance accounts are essential. Without systematic documentation, it is maybe nearly impossible to achieve effective coordination across this institutional landscape. Also, the governance baseline provides a snapshot for how countries divide or manage their ocean and governing their ocean resources and spaces. So, although their governance accounts are crucial for understanding institutional capacity and policy effectiveness, they remain an experimental component of the ocean accounts framework. This is documented in latest report of the Global Ocean Account Partnership and also several scientific papers. The governance accounts are underdeveloped because fundamentally it's qualitative and institutional. It resists the quantitative logic that accounting frameworks inherited from the SNA and SIA systems, and the institutional data is fragmented across agencies. So there is limited precedent for how we translate the governance features like institutional legal frameworks and also the other features like laws into standardized, comparable, and accounting entries. So with this, there are key methodological gaps include first, there is no accounting standard for qualitative governance values. There is no standard methodology to spatially represent the jurisdiction in institutional presence in the ocean. And there is limited engagement with legal dimensions according to treaties, customary laws, and informal arrangements. There is no also guidance how to spatially and temporally upscaling the data collection across governance jurisdiction levels, and also limited integration with existing monitoring and evaluation frameworks. And this is where my study will aim. I'll aim to close these gaps by developing the methodological framework for compiling and analyzing governance accounts, specifically making standardized governance indicators that can be compiled across ocean jurisdictions, and also creating methodology for integrating governance data with environmental and economic accounts to reveal the institutional determinants of marine resource outcomes. My objective is to make the ocean governance feasible, measurable, and improvable so that the governance dimension of ocean accounting can move from experimental status to a practical implementation. And so we can have a more comprehensive ocean account measures. I finished my presentation there. Thank you very much for your attention. I welcome any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Hadi, for that insightful presentation, particularly your point on the governance information gap and challenges of capturing qualitative governance dimension, such as legitimacy and also trust. So if anyone have any questions, you can direct them in the Q&A box, and then we'll pick it up during the moderated discussion session. So without further delay, I would like now to introduce our next speaker. We are honored to have Professor Dr. Wan Izatul Asma, a professor at the Institute of Oceanography and Environment, INOS, University of Malaysia, Terengganu, and head of the Centre of Governance. She specializes in public international law, marine spatial planning, and ocean governance framework with extensive experience connecting legal system, policy coherence, and ecological outcomes across Southeast Asia. She is the author of Ocean Governance, Bridging the Gaps, Connecting the Dots, and has significant experience in marine spatial planning implementation, governance and ecological status assessment, and policy integration in the region. Prof. Wan, we welcome you to share your insight with us.
Thank you, Khaira. Okay. As mentioned by Khaira, hello everyone. As mentioned by Khaira, I won't be talking about any accounting today because I'm of legal background, yoga. Unlike you, I was like my last calculation class was during my secondary school, high school. So after that, I enrolled for law, And after that, there's no calculation except by using the calculator. Okay. So meaning that I won't be talking much about the accounting part, but I will be talking about the governance part. Okay, my topic of discussion is about strengthening Malaysia's ocean governance for sustainable future. Because we do have this big gap in Malaysia where we don't, unlike in Indonesia, Yoga, you do have your KKP, the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. We don't have yet, but the ministry, but we have it across ministries. Yeah. Okay. Next, Troy. Okay. So basically, this is what ocean governance. Yeah. Just a little bit into the legal part of the study. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about UNCLOS. Yeah, it's going to be very boring. But UNCLOS is the basis for ocean governance for the world, for the global ocean governance, and of course the basis for the domestic ocean governance as well. So just basically to talk about ocean governance, it plays a crucial role in enabling informed decision making for the sustainable management and conservation of the world's oceans. So in fact, if you look into, it's a thick document. If you look into UNCLOS, most 80% talks about sustainable management and conservation of the world's oceans. Yeah, it provides the framework for regulating ocean users, promoting sustainable livelihood, and then so on and so forth. And then and in the end, it will empower stakeholders to take options that balance economic development with environmental protection. Basically, it is dubbed, UNCLOS is dubbed as the Constitution of the Sea. Constitution does not speak very detailed on a particular area. And of course, we have to follow up through with several international and regional legal instrument. And of course, it goes to the domestic and this is how it works. And then ocean governance basically is the basis for us to protect the oceans. Okay, next. And a little bit into Malaysia as a maritime nation. So we declare ourselves as a maritime nation. And of course, we are surrounded by, bordered by 4 large bodies of waters. Yeah, I just mentioned 4. So that will be the Straits of Malacca, South China Sea. And then and I forgot. And Sulu Sea and Celebes Sea, sorry. Sulu Sea and Celebes Sea, so where we share it with Indonesia and also the Philippines. And then of course, so this is why we need to have a strong ocean governance. Okay, next. And we have, of course, twice bigger. Our maritime space is twice bigger than our territorial space. Okay, next. Okay, and our dependence on the ocean is on almost all economic sectors. Yeah, and then of course, ranging from seafood, fishing, trade, transportation, energy, and tourism. And we are also being located at in the tropics. We have tropical islands that attract so many of our of foreign tourists to Malaysia, to the tropical islands, just like Gili, yeah, just like the Gili Matra. Okay, next. Gili Matra, right? Gili Matra. I was there. I was just staying at the opposite of Gili Matra because I went to Breen. There's a Breen Aquaculture Center there. Okay, but I did not go to Gili. Okay, despite all the maritime features that we do have maritime challenges. So, and this is the thing that prompted us to have a strong, for us to push for a strong ocean governance. And of course, we do have dynamic regional maritime geopolitical environment, be it traditional and non-traditional threats. And then it threats the ocean ecosystem, and this puts great pressure on the economic activity and directly affects national income, and therefore it needs to be addressed strategically. Okay, next. Okay, so as mentioned by Khaira, So I've been working on marine spatial planning for quite some time. And then we are coming up with a national document of marine spatial planning, which is going to be completed this year. And then so this is something that I call it as my passion. This is something that if you want to manage our ocean, we need to use MSP as a management tool. Yeah. Okay, next. So basically, just a little bit into what is marine spatial planning. This is the definition by IOC UNESCO. It's basically a public policy process for a society to better determine how the ocean and the coast are sustainably used and protected for now and for the future generations. Yeah. And then you can see that there are multiple users of the oceans, and then some of our oceans are actually very busy like this. Okay, next. And MSP process brings together multiple users to make informed and coordinated decisions about how to sustainably use marine resources and space in an open and planned way, because MSP is a consultative process. It is not top-down. Yeah, it must go through consultation, and then to balance between environmental protection and social and economic outcomes delivery. Next, and these are the tools, the elements or the characteristic of MSP. It is ecosystem based. MSP, when it was first drawn, it was talking about how to protect the ecosystem, and then should be area based. When we have a national document on marine spatial planning, we are supposed to also have a specific area like the Gili Matra. So I know I have a colleague in KKP, Pak Budi, working on MSP on Gili Matra Islands, and then he's from the Directorate General of Marine Spatial Planning, and then and of course it has to be integrated. He has to integrate everything. It has to be adaptive, and meaning that he has to go through thorough monitoring and evaluation. It has to be changed when it is necessary, and of course it is strategic. And being consultative, it has to be participatory. So meaning that it has to be top down, bottom up, and through the middle, and then only then we can put marine spatial planning at the forefront. If not, it will be just like in Malaysia, we used to have like top down MPA designation, and it does not work well with the community. Okay, next. And these are the benefits of MSP. I'm not going to go through this. Do you release slides to the participants, to the attendees, Khaira?
We do if you are okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can, you can release the PDF slides.
Will do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to go through this because it is basically about balancing the economic and the environmental aspects. Okay, next. And this is the project that we have, and he has already completed. And then we are just waiting for the MOU to be signed by the Kuala Terengganu City Council with the China Oceanic Development Foundation. And then of course, because this is with an public organization from China, we have to get the cabinet approval for this, and we're waiting for that approval. And then okay, next. And we have been working on this since 2016 to 2023. And of course, we started with the project on the pilot project just now. We started off in 2020. It was completed in 2023, but we have been working on capacity building with NOAA from the United States on trying to introduce MSP to Malaysia, and we work well with and of course it started off with conservation. We work with WWF Malaysia. Okay, next. And then this is how we started. Yeah, and it's a long process, but once the document comes, when the national document comes into existence, then this project will be part of the pilot project for the Peninsula Malaysia. And then I think if from 2016 to 2023, if I were to if I were to deliver a baby, so that baby will be like 10 years old, 11 years old. Okay, next. It's a long process, but it is something that we look forward to, and then we are still working on this. And then as a way forward, we cannot be talking about marine spatial planning on its own. Okay, next. We have to talk about governance, and then of course we have to talk now. We are talking about blue economy, and then blue economy is the vision. We have the tool. We have the tool that is the Marine Spatial Planning is a management tool or the enabler, and we need, in order to do this, we need data. So this is where Ocean Account comes into being, and this is where our partnership with GOAP is very crucial in order for us to push for towards strengthening our ocean governance. Okay, next. And this is how it works. The planning, regulatory tool, and then marine spatial planning and ocean accounting will be supporting blue economy. And this is at the forefront of our ocean governance. And of course, while talking about this, we do have problems. Okay, next, Troy. Okay. And then considering all the opportunities and challenges as a maritime nation, so there is an urgent need to change the approach in managing our country's maritime space and marine resources, especially in the effort to develop the blue economy. We need the blue economy as our vision, because our maritime space is twice bigger than our land space. So we need to capitalize on our blue economy, and to do this, we need to look into the supporting system. The base of how are we going to initiate to optimize from blue economy. We need to have to look into the basis or the platform, so which is the governance. So we do have various sectoral laws. We do have like 22 federal laws alone that govern the oceans. And we do have like 35 government agencies across ministries that looks into the oceans. And we do find that the most important the most crucial things to be addressed is the governance part. And then as the first step to realize efficient ocean governance to drive the development of the country's blue economy, we feel that we need a central body at the national level to be established to manage and coordinate maritime affairs with key functions. It's of course it managed, but there are certain functions that will have to remain at the respective ministries. But then this central body will supposed to be under the Department of Prime Ministers, and these department bodies will go across board, across all ministries, and we have the power to avoid that. We do have this problem of when it is a no man's land, no man's authority, then we have no man's problem. Like there are problems, but nobody is claiming that problem is their problem. So we need to have this. And then of course, as a conclusion, I would say that next. A central body managing maritime affairs in Malaysia is necessary to safeguard the nation's maritime security and sovereignty, to ensure compliance with marine laws and regulation, especially when we do have, we're talking about ocean governance, the basis, we have the constitution, and then the thing about ocean governance, it is always related with the public ocean governance. So meaning that the sea even though we do have borders, we don't have physical borders. So we do have this kind of overlapping claims, overlapping issues, and then to protect the nation's marine resources and ecosystem, to encourage the development of the nation's blue economy, and of course, having a centralized body would be able to strengthen regional and international cooperation. So that's all from me. So no calculation, no accounts, but I did mention on ocean accounting, the importance of data. And then of course, I leave it there at there. So, but
All
for
right.
us, what is most important is to have a central body. And just for your kind of information, the government has taken it up, and we are going to have this soon. And I hope it's before my retirement.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you, Prof. and Izatul. I think there's a lot that we can also learn from our neighbor, which already
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
countries ASEAN already have this
Yeah.
more of a, I mean, like Indonesia itself have a central body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you for the enriching presentation. And really, what stood out, like one of the things is really MSP as a coordinating governance tool, which sometimes people don't see that. And that really helps, hopefully, to reduce sectoral conflicts and also improve decision coherence. Um, so now we have all heard from our both experts, and we will move into the discussion segment. I will begin with a few guiding questions and we'll incorporate questions from participants. Please, I welcome you to submit your questions at the Q&A box and we'll bring them into this discussion if time permits. I'll start with Yoga. From you were presenting on the work on governance accounts, especially in the Gili Matra case. How do we move? Because we see that in the Gili Matra, it shows that 1 to 52 returns, which every dollar invested generates $52 in economic values. So, how do we move from demonstrating governance value to achieving financial sustainability in marine management system?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Khaira. So yeah, I think what the governance accounts study in Gili Matra reveals first the full picture. It's not just the economic value that we generated, but also the responsible governance and also the responsible institution that that capture the economic value. So it can show us exactly where the revenue leakage occurs and which jurisdictional overlaps that prevent effective fee collections and also regulatory instruments that exist but aren't enforced. This is important to revealing revealing this is important to identify why the user fees is low but compares to the generated environment in economic value. And also we should demonstrate to the sustainability by making the governance arrangements transparent and spatially explicit, especially to the other stakeholders, not just the MPA managers, but also other institutions. For example, the tourism provincial offices or the they basically have interest in Gili Matra. We don't just show the value, but we should show that this is where the gap of the governance and it should be, we could make it actionable when we can map the specific governance improvements. For example, where's the division of authority between user fees that generated from for example, tourism, or generated from MPA's fees. And so with that, we can show the policymakers, the MPA managers, the other governments, stakeholders, exactly where the institutional reforms are needed.
Mhm.
I think,
Right.
hope that answer your question.
Yeah, so I think it's like by having these, we can have like a better transparency
Yeah.
between like the governance and also the economic value, which then would definitely promote good governance. Since the economic integrity behind, like if you were doing MPA and also people are paying fee to enters and so on. So with that, I mean, like having touched like all different sectors. Prof, your research examines like governance and ecological status assessment, and I think this is like mostly on our marine protected areas in Malaysia. When you map this legal framework alongside environmental outcomes, what patterns emerge, and do sectoral law work together, or they often contradict with each other?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the law. I would say the people. I mean the institutional problem is there. And of course, the law somehow, so I think I have to I'm losing my okay. I need to power up my battery. And my laptop. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It is more on the people. Yeah. Because most of the laws, so they are talking about the same thing. Then of course, there are some overlapping issues. But the thing that we always have problem is between the agencies. So the federal agencies and the state agencies, between the state agencies, and then we know that in governance we do have that the federal state, and of course we also have the local authority. So these are three independent authorities. Even though in Malaysia, our local authority is depends on the state government, yeah, but then they do have their own authorities jurisdiction based on the local authority, local government act. So they are empowered, they have the power. And then these are the things that when happen, they look for the loophole, the gap, and then it makes things difficult. It is not the law. So I always find that we do, for example, in IUU fishing for Malaysia, for our fisheries act provides so much on the I think we provided every time we sign a regional document, international document, international plan of action, we tried to update it, the provisions on IUU fishing. But then it is always with the people, with the implementation. And then I would say that our most important things is about the institutional framework. So the legal part, and of course, when we settle the institutional framework, so, and of course, when we do, so they need some sources of authority. So, and then of course, we need to have the law in place, but then it's not the implementation of the respective law for the enforcement of the law that pose the problem, but it is always the people, that is the institutionals demarcation between the government, the state government, the federal government, the local governments. It's the people that make things problematic. Yeah.
Okay, so you always come back to human, I guess, on how we use
Yes, the
power
human.
invested
Yeah.
in us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
Whether
mean,
you want to make it easy or you want to take a longer way.
long
Yeah.
route, yeah,
Yeah.
the long-winded route.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yoga, you're also in the ministry. I mean, you are actually one of the federal officers. I just like, since Indonesia have its own, like this is a bit more perhaps not directly related to ocean governance account, but then you are also from a country where you have a better in terms of coordinating bodies that handles the ocean. Do you think that by having that, it helps better in terms of like has MSP itself sort of it's the good governance, is it a product of MSP or it's the other way around, right? You have the good governance, that's why you can actually have a better MSP and also like a very good planning. And how do you think that ocean accounting now can come in and probably equip the government better in terms of governing the ocean?
Yeah, that's really interesting question and very critical also for Indonesia. Uh, for our lessons learned from the past 10 years, having a coordinating institution for ocean, or we call it coordination institution for maritime, it breaking all the conflict, cross-sectoral conflicts first for between used to be competing institutions on the ocean. And this coordinating institutions, they try to resolve issues because mandatory all the like, for example, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Ministry of Tourism that also have interest in ocean, and also there's Ministry of Environment that also have interest in ocean. They are mandatory need to coordinate with the coordinating ministry, with the coordinating Ministry of Maritime. So first, it's useful to breaking the ego sectoral by coordinating, because if there is a one issue that cannot be resolved by one ministry, it should be resolved through the coordinating ministry. That's the first one. And related to MSP, yeah, so MSP Indonesia, I think also Prof, we explanation on how MSP should be publicly consulted and also coordinated. Yeah, in MSP Indonesia, by law, it should also have a public consultation, and also needs approval from not from all related sectors in the ocean. So although the MSP is led by the Ministry of Marine Affairs, but for endorsement, for legalization, it has to go through endorsement or acknowledgement, recognition from other related ministry and institutions that have interest in the ocean. So I think I think it works both way. Coordinating ministry working, but it should be enforced by laws and regulation that's saying that every product or every MSP product should have endorsement from other national endorsement and also provincial endorsement. That's my point.
Yeah, I think we can have like all the documents, but if it's not endorsed, and then it would be difficult to implement across all space of the ocean. So then maybe because we were talking about Malaysia and Indonesia, maybe Prof have some comments like in terms of regional cooperation, because you also did say something about IUU just now. What do you think would take to harmonize governance approach across national boundaries while respecting local context? I mean, we have like this yearly ASEAN thing on IUU as well. So how do you think like, good governance in the local context, but at the same time, it could work cross transboundary?
Yeah, I think what is most important is, as I said, that the law is there, the regional plan of action is also there, but of course, plan of action is not binding. But it is there. Basically, the UNCLOS is clearly states about our functional rights in our EEZ. So what is most important is to have cooperation, regional cooperation. So this is where the importance of coming back to the governance issues in Malaysia. So I did mention that the why we need a central body is to strengthen our regional and international collaboration, because when it boils down to the part that at the national level, when we go for international or regional negotiation, we always need who is responsible for this. So we need the person that is responsible to go and negotiate, to do the dealing. And it is not some, when it goes overseas, it will be some other people. When comes to doing the work, it will be some other department. So it is not going to work. So this is where it boils down, having the governance, and then in order to address these regional issues of IUU fishing, we need to have this collaboration. And then I think Indonesia, you have your own laws, and then I think your laws are even more stringent than Malaysia. Even you during Ibu Susi, yeah, and when she was the minister, she was like having a CCTV or of covering all the waters of in Indonesia, and then she was like very firm on whoever came into our waters illegally, encroached into our waters, and then so the fishing vessel will be burned down. Yeah, so it is within their rights. Yeah, it is within their rights. And in Malaysia, we are not that straightforward. We are not that harsh, but we do have we seize the encroach uh, vessels, but then we do it according to the legal way, and then we try to. So there are so many processes to have to go through, and we make I think we strand it into make them into artificial reef, but it takes about several years to do that. But Indonesia is more bold. But I would say that it is within their rights because they're doing it within their EEZs. Yeah. And then of course we need to be forceful. And in order to be forceful, we need the governance. We need the institution. We need someone to say that this is very important. And to refer back to what Yoga was saying, that our study on the governance, to propose for the governance, it is not so actually, it's not just MSP. We also did the study on how to propose for the governance to strengthen our governance, and we did have the study on. Of course, the basis is still MSP. We did a comparative study benchmarking with Indonesia, Australia, and China, and how they work with it. And then, of course, there are some good things coming that we look in from Indonesia, but being a Commonwealth country, just like our suggestion mainly based on Australia, and then this is how we do our how we come up with uh, proposal to strengthen our governance, our ocean governance. And of course, when it come back to your question, it is more about enforcing the law, our rights within our EZs, and we need collaboration, regional cooperation to do this. Yeah.
I think the regional cooperation could actually, the one thing that maybe we should feel is that trying to capture this qualitative governance, because it's always
Yeah.
very qualitative. So
Yes,
having
yes,
them
yes.
across all the nations, then
Okay.
having standardized with would be very much perhaps something closer to have like a better cooperation among
Yeah, yeah. So can
regions.
I say something? Between so Malaysia and Indonesia, we have a very fluid.
Mhm.
I can use the word fluid borders.
Mhm.
Not referring to our recent issues, but this is more like for IUU fishing. So there is
Mhm.
a joke, and it's a fact. Way back in Tawau in Lahad Datu. So when you know that we have the borders between the seas, the last time Sebatik used to be, we used to own part of Sebatik, and then we used to have and it's about tuna. Yeah,
Mhm.
tuna. So we have this tuna boat. Then when it comes to Malaysian waters, it will fly the Malaysian flag. So when it goes into Indonesian waters, you will fly the Indonesian flag.
Leadership.
So we don't know. So I mean I mean it depends on their luck. Yeah, because they speak
Yeah,
the local language,
yeah.
and then yeah, so so
Yeah,
this
we
is
all
how.
serumpun.
Yeah,
It
serumpun.
speaks each
So
other.
it is a threat, but we are not just talking about that. I think that is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
small, yeah, issues, but we are talking about more domestic issues, more domestic things that we need to handle first, to address first, because having a strong governance will help with addressing this issue.
Yes. So maybe then just one last question to Yoga. There's a question from the chat. I think it's more technical. On the gap of spatial representation of jurisdiction, could you use official maps for Indonesia drawn to scale?
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne, for the question. Yes, for Indonesia, yes, we can use our official maps because Indonesia has one map policy that mandates all maps should have national standards, and we have a dedicated institution to provide that standards. And although all the thematic maps are produced by different institutions according to their core business, but all of these maps, according to the one map policy, should have the same standard. They should be interoperable, and it should be the most important thing is it should be available in public. So yes, the answer, because due to that policy, all maps and all spatial maps or spatial databases have one standard and should be accessible to the public.
Right. Thank you very much. And I think since it's already almost 12, I would like to maybe give a summary. We had a very fruitful discussion today. Some of the key insights that I guess I can perhaps it emerged during the discussion. There's a very strong message that governance visibility matters. So transparency, knowing things that can be, especially if it can be measured, then it would be better translated in different parts of the community. And we also heard that spatially mapping governance system, whether like Prof. Wan said, through MSP or through governance account, like what Yoga have highlighted, helps to reveal some overlaps, fragmentation, and also coordination challenges so that we can reduce these overlaps and also gaps. Because we often talk about overlaps, but we did not say about gaps that are sometimes sort of like we overlook them. And this spatial perspective allow governments and also institutions to move beyond sector by sector decision, which I think Malaysia is currently having like a big problem on for decision making towards more integrated ocean governance. And this then relate back to like human on how they use the law itself, and when they are given power to govern certain sectors, it's more of like competing, like what Yoga said. It's not like trying to they compete against agencies instead of trying to complement each other. So third and important takeaway is also measuring governance is no longer a conceptual exercise, because there's already ways and also standards that we can follow in order for us to do this. And this could be better used for us to then highlight good governance, especially for ocean governance. And emerging governance accounts and ocean accounting approach are beginning to provide practical tools for linking governance inputs such as institution, policy, laws, investment with environmental, economic, and social outcomes. And we know that ASEAN is moving with its Blue Economy Implementation Plan. So it's very timely that we incorporate this as well as how do we put in all these capitals in the implementation plan. They have like different capitals, and how do we put this together into a quantitative way. And this is essential for improving accountability and also policy effectiveness. So finally, the discussion also highlighted that strengthening ocean governance requires both institutional coordination and also data system. So I think with that, I hope to see you again in the next session. We'll definitely put it on our website, in our regional dialogue webpage, and you can also access all the presentation from Yoga and also Prof. Ria through our dialogue materials. And there's also an interest survey if you'd like to be in the loop. We'll also send you all the invites through emails. I would like to thank both of our speakers, experts, that are here with us today and have given us a very fruitful insights and also very heated discussions as well. And I hope that this continues to be a platform for us to share and also to always talk about, ocean data, finance, and also governance. So thank you very much and have a good afternoon, everyone.